remote release of your tailgate. So as you can see, the truck moves down the road quite nicely, going 80 miles an hour here roughly. Engine's turning at about 1700, maybe 1800 RPM. Wind noise is consistent with the class. You do hear a little bit right now, but that's just because it's windy in Michigan today. You don't really hear the V8 at all when you're driving down the road, but when you do get on the gas, as you can tell, you do get a little bit of that V8 sound passing through into the cabin. Steering wheel feels good. It's not too tight, you know, it's not a sports car or anything, but there's not too much play when you make a maneuver. The tuning on the throttle definitely does seem to be pretty heavy, so a light press of the throttle does give you a decent bit of reaction off the line, but the throttle is not linear, so 10% on the throttle does not equate to 90% more under the hood necessarily. It's just part of the tuning with GM. They definitely have it quite aggressive from the get-go, but that's pretty common with most vehicles nowadays, and just the setup. So as I get off here, I'm going to go ahead and hit the brakes. It's not going to be a full lockup by any means, but just consistent so I can give you guys some feedback on the pedal feel and so you can kind of see what to expect. So the pedal feel was pretty firm. Towards the end there, it did get a little bit softer. There was obviously quite a bit more there left to give if I needed it. But overall, pedal feel did feel pretty solid. Definitely something that would be predictable in a case where you had to get on the brakes quite hard. As they should be. You know, you're towing 8,000 to 10,000 pounds behind a vehicle. You need to make sure those factory brakes are nice and sturdy. Now, I'm not flying through these corners by any means, but the truck does have your typical body roll you're going to get in a pickup. It's not super sloppy. It's not towering over and really leaning like perhaps a lifted Wrangler or my 4Runner in the corners that did get a little top heavy, and even with the BP51s, it was just one of those side effects, right? Your center of gravity goes up, and that's what you're going to get. So when I leave this stop sign here, I'm going to get on the gas a little bit. I'm not going to fully, floor the vehicle per se, but I will get on it just so you guys can get an idea of really what this cabin sounds like under acceleration and a load, really. So as you can tell, you get a little bit of noise from the engine. Definitely is a nice satisfying sound. These GM V8s always sound nice. You can tell there's some sound deadening going on though. The noise is a bit muted. There's a little bit of work that went on there to kind of tone down that engine a bit, but it's not neutered or anything. There's still a bit of sound, so. The cabin in the truck is nicely laid out. Main part of your features are kind of laid across the bottom here with your auto start stop. As much as we may not like that, it is the future. The manufacturers are trying to push out every mile per gallon they can get, and the auto start stop is one piece of technology in their arsenal to get there. You do have a remote release tailgate, which I did mention at the start of the video. That's a bit new to me. I guess there are some cases where you could use that, especially in a world like today with COVID. So if you were getting something picked up from Lowe's, Home Depot or something, and you just wanted the bed of your truck, you could easily do that for them. Outside of that, there probably are some uses for it. I guess if you're walking up with some lumber or something yourself to get into your bed while your hands are full. But just the same, you got to push the button on the tailgate. So in any case, something to kind of a novelty. But outside of that, just your standard controls like stability control, hill descent control, and all that jazz is really where you'd expect it to be. The resolution on this monitor is quite nice as well. It appears to be full HD, probably 1080p monitor in terms of resolution. I do not see any pixels in the screen, where prior GM displays you could actually kind of almost count out some of the pixels there, but I think they did a good job in this screen here. It looks quite nice. Steering wheel does have a nice feel to it. Leather wrapped. This particular truck does have a heated steering wheel. The heat feels nice. In filling the steering wheel, there are no cold spots. It is heated well throughout. Perhaps maybe a little bit of a cold spot here. However, my hand has been here, so I'm sure that heat's just transferred to my skin. So that's probably why it feels that way. Yes, overall a good solid truck here. Rides nice. It's not too firm, not too soft. It's just set up just right for the typical buyer here of a pickup, and kind of meets a good middle ground there. So I hope this has provided you guys with a good insight of really what it's like to drive this truck. If you drove into the dealer right now and put your bum in the same seat I'm in, this is really a good representation of what this truck's like. Now, it's not exactly the same, obviously. So your best bet is to go there yourself, take a look at it, do your proper social distancing, and see what your thoughts are. If you're not a people person, this is a great time to go look at a truck. You're not going to have a salesman here in your passenger seat. Just enjoy the time with you and your pickup. I gotta tell you guys, in a world where the forced induction engine is becoming essentially the commonplace, there is a sheer enjoyment that comes out of driving a vehicle just with a V8. While a turbocharged vehicle or even a supercharged vehicle, they do offer that low end torque that really is helpful and really where you want that power to be, is where you're driving the cars in those lower RPM ranges. These turbocharged cars they don't have a soul. They're a bit bland, and you know, the typical turbocharged car, I guess I should say. It's you can definitely really have fun with some of those setups, but your common vehicle, I should say, it's an easy way to get good fuel economy and good power, and to a lot of people that's fine. But for an enthusiast or someone that's really just grown up with a V8 engine, they are going away. It is unfortunately a dying breed. You just can't feed, in this case, 5.3 liters of engine there without, you know, more fuel. It's just what's going to happen. So if you can run a 2 liter under a light load and get to where you're going, great. But you throw in a little more oxygen, a little more fuel with the turbo, and, you know, proper tuning, you get the power you want when you need it, but it's efficient when it's not, when you don't need it. So I mean, it is what it is. It's fine. But man, there's just something enjoyable about a V8. So as you're making your decision and you're looking at the different setups for this truck, you know, I would recommend the diesel. Take a look at that. But, you know, just enjoy the sound of the diesel, listen to it, and just ignore the fuel economy and just go there for what it is. This won't always be here. All right, folks, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Again, leave any comments if you have them for me, and I'll be happy to take a look at them. You guys have a good day. Take care.